Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Jillian, also known as Dr. Deal, and I am grateful you are here. So, I decided to begin sharing these reflections here in this space because transformation has never been just a concept to me. It has been lived, questioned, stretched, surrendered to, and slowly trusted through loss, healing, and expanding. So, I am not sharing from a place of someone having everything figured out. I am sharing as someone who has walked through her own becoming, and as someone who has also had the privilege of walking beside others as they search for their meaning, courage, and a way back to themselves. So let me say this: what matters most to me is lived experience, professional experience, and respect for the human process. My background is in educational psychology and teaching undergraduate and graduate psychology. I also hold credentials in addiction counseling, grief work, and DBT. And during the time I have spent walking alongside people through substance use, trauma, child welfare involvement, homelessness, justice system involvement, mental health challenges, career changes through education, and the difficult work of rebuilding their lives. All of this has shaped the way I understand and approach transformation and expansion. Thus, my reflections that I share here, it comes from what I have witnessed professionally and what I have experienced personally, from what I have studied, what I have held close, and what I know can become real when insight is lived and applied. Everything I have experienced has taught me that transformation is not always beautiful while it is happening, because sometimes it begins in shame, regret, grief, confusion, silence, and even in the nights when the mind keeps replaying what the heart is still trying to understand. Grief is also part of the voice I bring to this space, both personally and professionally. I know grief at a depth that changed the shape of my life. This occurred after the death of my child, who was a young adult. Other losses have continued to teach me about love, about memory, release, recovery, and the courage to keep going, to keep becoming. And recovery is also part of the conversations that I'm going to have here, because healing is not just only about what we survive, it's about rebuilding a life, learning to sit with pain without being consumed by it, understanding shame without becoming trapped inside of it, and finding healthier ways to cope, to grieve, to connect, to repair, and begin again. All of this was very influential in why I created a Mindful Transformation Incorporated, where healing can be practiced, and AMT 1111, where healing can be spoken about with clarity, with compassion, with accountability, and hope. And these reflections that I share here in this space is my commitment to you, my commitment to be honest about what transformation really looks like. Honest conversations about self worth, self love, healing, and expansion. Honest about what it truly means to live a life that is authentically yours, shaped by your hands, carried by your voice, and lived without apology. Personally, that honesty also meant I had to learn to release what was never mine to carry. So, yes, I know what it feels like to ruminate, overthink, and carry responsibility for someone else's feelings, their choices, and their happiness. And I was stuck in that space until something shifted. I began to understand that life, from the cradle to the grave, is a deeply personal human process. I was not separated from that process. I was the process. And as I learned to trust it, I expanded. So, in this space, if this space speaks to something in you, I invite you to subscribe and continue walking this path with me. And together we will explore transformation, grief recovery, self worth, healing, releasing, remembering, and becoming. So may this be a space where truth is held with care, knowledge is shared with compassion, and growth is honored as we transform with dignity and heal with grace. Thank you for allowing me to share this reflection with you, to share this part of my journey with you in this space. May peace and light accompany you on your path.